Here, we're importing create from fetch from React Server DOM Webpack, which is a library that enables server components in React to use data fetching mechanisms that work well with server-side rendering. We're defining a React server-side component called server component. It's important to note that this component will run on the server and will be responsible for fetching our data before the HTML is sent to the client. Inside our server component, we declare a constant called resource. We assign to it the result of calling create from fetch with the fetch API, pointing to our external data endpoint. Create from fetch turns the fetch call into a resource that React knows how to use for suspending and resuming rendering. Next, we attempt to read the data from the resource using the read method. If the data isn't ready because the fetch promise hasn't resolved yet, the read call will throw a promise. This promise triggers React's suspense mechanism, pausing rendering until the data is available. Now, if the data is ready, the component's rendering process continues. We start to return our JSX, which will be converted into HTML on the server side. Our JSX starts with a simple div element. This will act as a container for our fetched data. This is also where you can add more structure or styling to your component. Then we have an H1 heading, which simply denotes that the following content is data fetched from an external API. Within our container, we map over the data array, creating a new div for each item. We use the item's ID as a unique key for each element and display the item's name. This mapping will create a list of names on our page, each rendered as individual divisions. And finally, we close our main container div. At this point, our server-rendered HTML is ready to be sent down to the client, where it can be hydrated with client-side interactions if needed. With the closing parenthesis and curly brace, we complete our server component function. This component showcases how to efficiently integrate external API data into server-rendered React applications.